This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Easter Monday, an ordinary day in Manhattan. The sudden, unexpected spring blizzard that had howled across the city the previous week, leaving in its wake more than a foot of snow and a paralyzed metropolis, was now no more than an unpleasant memory. A few days of warm sun and temperatures well up into the 50s had turned the pristine mountainous drifts into shrinking mounds of gray slush, and then into raging rivers of filthy water. With the start of the new work week and continued bright weather, the rivers had dried and vanished, and the city was warm and pleasant with spring. In Midtown North, as in other police precincts, it was business as usual this day after the holiday. A polyglot precinct is Midtown North, microcosm of the public picture of New York. It stretches from the Hudson River piers and decrepit West Side Highway east to the soaring towers and exclusive shops that line Fifth Avenue, from just above the sleaze of Times Square north to the fringes of the glittering mecca of culture in Lincoln Center. Within these boundaries lies the communications capital of North America, the editorial offices and the headquarters of the television network giants, where the decisions are made about what Americans will read and watch. The tastes, trends, and desires of America, indeed of much of the world, in 100 different areas are debated and dictated in the skyscraper offices of the multinational corporations that compete for air and ground space along the canyon-like avenues. Through 100 small, dingy yet impregnably armored offices along one short block of West 47th Street pass enough gold and diamonds every day to make an ancient Indian mogul feel deprived and to bring delight and riches to the South African mine owners. That is one face of Midtown North. There is another, a dozen others. For every steel and glass tower, there are 20 shabby, ill-repaired lofts, housing hundreds of small businesses just barely keeping afloat. For every department store and specialty shop, there are 50 hole-in-the-wall cigar stores, pawn shops, bookie joints, and seedy discount outlets peddling merchandise that seems to evaporate into dust on first use. For every luxury hotel luring out-of-town tourists and business conventions, there are a dozen flop houses and welfare shelters. For every cooperative and condominium and high-priced rental apartment catering to the rich, there are 100 tenements. For every first-run cinema palace, there are 5 porno movie houses, peep shows, and live sex act establishments. For every successful businessman, there are 10 shady operators skirting the edges of legitimacy, often with an outward face of respectability. For every tourist and honest citizen wandering through the area or working in it, there is a pimp and his hookers, a pusher and his junkies, to say nothing of the thieves, petty and grand, the hoodlums, organized and unorganized, and all the rest. That is the surface. But beneath the wealth, glitter, and success, beneath the contrasting poverty, bleakness, and failure, there is a barely concealed stench of desperation and fear. There is the fear of failure, the fear of competition, the fear of strangers, the fear of friends who may not be friends, the fear in the streets, and the fear of the streets. The mass of men, Thoreau wrote, lead lives of quiet desperation. It is true here as everywhere. But, for some, their fears drive them away from the quiet hopelessness to desperate acts. In the heart of the area, on West 54th Street between 8th and 9th Avenues, stands the forbidding fortress that is Midtown North. Though they are often cynical, talk about their work as just a job, and gripe about the long hours and lousy pay, the men who spread a thin blue shield from this drab building think of themselves as the soldiers of the city, the area's protection, only protection, when desperation becomes overt. Their struggle is unending, and days blend into days, leaving little to mark them from the ones that have gone before.